Hey's folks, I'm very sorry about yesterday. I was unable to put anything forward for my 30-day world, but I'm here now, and hopefully my alarm will not go off to tell me that my pizza is burning. So let's do this all. This will be video 1 of 2 for today. I was thinking of doing them both together, but really I'm gonna have a lot of difficulty doing that because I have a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's go into question number 1. What rare and interesting races populate your world? Races are something that I thought of immensely. I thought a lot about what I wanted to kind of do with them when I was originally bringing it up. I've kind of mentioned in the past that like situations of race and situations of racism, they're something that I'm very interested in and something that I deal with. So I felt that using the idea of race would be a good opportunity to kind of come up with interesting twists on things. First thing that I kind of came up with, in order to reflect some of the theming that I wanted to go on with the interpersonal relationships and what race really is in Talon, is I opened the floodgates and I allowed any kind of interbreeding between the different races that exist to occur. As a result, Dungeons and Dragons very quickly kind of became inadequate for what I wanted to do. For those who generally don't know, Dungeons and Dragons uses a very Tolkien-esque approach to things, along with some Conan the Barbarian type approach to how races intermingle and how they work. So you got the Tolkien-esque stuff, which is based on Norse mythology and yada yada yada, of human, elf, dwarf. You've then got the halfling, which are basically the hobbits, which are pretty whole cloth taken from Dungeons and Dragons. Then you have the orc, which is based on the idea of goblins, negative creatures in the world. There's a certain amount of the Svartalf with the conception of how the orcs are, insofar as it goes with them being wholly negative in their approach and kind of antithetical to how the civilized races work and what kind of goals they would have. In general, there are only 2 sets of half-type creatures. First is half-elf and half-human, and this is kind of to reflect a whole bunch of different things. It depends on how you want to go for it. But what they wanted to kind of show is the capacity for humanity to incite interest from what many people would consider to be kind of like a more advanced, better, more refined, graceful race. Sadly, my pizza is now burning, so let's just power on. The other side of things would also be the half-orc, who are the peoples to kind of show the savage side of humanity. These are the people who are much more similar. Their plots are generally from the point of view of people who are between civilized and not civilized. If you want to imagine it any particular way, imagine like Chewbacca from Star Wars. The Wookiees are generally kind of like people who they kind of describe as, oh, he's going to rip your arm off or something like that. And yet he's also still kind of kind, and he seems to have this very intelligent person because, go figure, he's a fucking mechanic. That's generally how it had been up until around about 2000 or so. That was kind of how things were in relation to cross-relation. There were no dwarves having sex with humans. There were no halflings having sex with humans. Nobody was generally thing. Then things kind of opened up a bit with the introduction of the 3, what are basically known as kind of the magic kind of half races. The Aasimar, the Tiefling, and the Dragonborn. And they can very easily be termed in very crude and gross kind of sense. Aasimar, granddad fucked an angel. Tiefling, granddad fucked up and had a deal with the devil and it went really bad. And Dragonborn, depending on your point of view, granddad fucked a dragon, or granddad is such a pimp motherfucker that the god of dragons said, oh, your kids are going to be Dragonborn now. The thing that I really wanted to change, and really a problem that I had with the idea of this kind of half ideal, was that actually they're all human. A half-elf is half a human, and go figure, half-elf, half-orc is similarly. They're all intermingling of the human paradigm. This I felt was a bit of a difficult thing. It's kind of a very strange idea. And when I looked into it, I found that actually there was a very good reason for why that was the case. And it had a lot to do with Tolkien, and it had a lot to do with how people perceived race. So me, being me, and thinking I know better than pretty much everybody, just decided to reach in and open up the playing field. I generally allowed anybody to be from whatever race they wanted, and it is actually one of the big reasons why I liked Fantasy Age system over other RPG systems, because it allows for, in a very simple and easy way, to create mixed race creatures. And this isn't talking a mixed race of human and others. I have in my game right now a halfling and an elf. I have an elf and a dwarf. I have these people who are very, very mixed in. And the reason that I wanted this was because I wanted to advance this idea of immigration and intermingling, and the fact that the standard method, the idea of like racial segregation, doesn't really stand up a lot in Talon. People are more scared where you are from rather than what race you happen to be a part of. And the reason why I feel this is so important, and really that I wanted to push forward, is not only the theming ideology that I have here of, multiculturalism and different things intermingling together and creating like whole new races. Often, I really wanted to put forward what I felt was kind of the future. And as it reflects, from my opinion, that's happening now. People are intermingling, and it's becoming more and more clear that the idea of race is increasingly just falling apart. You're not just British. You're not just American. You're Irish British, and you've got a bit of Eskimo in you, and you've got a bit of this, and you've got a bit of that, and these kind of things. And I wanted to kind of have the option, give the opportunity for, if people wanted to include that idea. My character is elf, but her granddaddy was a dwarf. And there you have it, folks. That is my bit. And I have very literally burnt my fucking kitchen to the ground, and I'm going to go put it out now. Ciao!